Good morning, students. Good morning and welcome back.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning. I think you can see the tab which I have shared. Can you see the tab?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Good. Okay, then this is your last topic in the second chapter. Okay, we are studying capital budgeting decision, and this is the last topic, leftover topic. And after that, also first we'll finish off our syllabus. One more chapter is there. That is a pretty long chapter. It will take 1 month time also. So after doing that chapter, we'll again come back to this chapter for solving some more sums. But today we will end up this particular chapter. Okay, and the topic that is left over is net terminal value. You can see in the truncated syllabus. I did not send you, no, the truncated one. Okay, I'll just share. One of you please remind me, huh? Please remind after the classes regarding the sending of truncated syllabus. So I will send you in the group itself, or in Moodle I'll upload. Okay, in announcement section I'll upload. So you will be able to see that one. In that truncated syllabus, the topic that is left for our discussion is net terminal value. In your screen, you can see the term terminal value. It means the same. You can write in your copy also. There are some formula which you'll have to keep. Also, this link will be uploaded in your Moodle also. But you should write the terminologies in your copy. The sums will not come from this section. Okay, it never comes, but only you should know the formula and the concept behind net terminal value. So what is it? Terminal value is the value of a business or project beyond the forecast period when future cash flows can be estimated. Terminal value assumes a business will grow at a set growth rate forever after the forecast period. Say, when we are doing net present value, what we see that a project's life is given to you, or the machine's life is given to you, and it is ending at a certain period of time. Say it's 6 years, 10 years, 5 years, 4 years, whatever. When we solve the problems, no, we saw that the life of the project or the machine is ending at a certain point of time, right? So the life is ending at a certain point of time. When you know this information, then you can calculate the net present value of the project. But this net terminal value concept will help you to find out the value of the project or the machine beyond that period. Beyond that period. Say in the machine sums, in some sums the salvage value was given, in some sums the salvage value was not given, but there was still some value left over for that machine, and it was assumed that the machine can also be used further. Or a project for which you have known that for till the 10th year I'll be able to generating cash inflow, but after the 10th year no information is given. Okay, then what? Then, but still it is not also mentioned that the project can be terminated. The project can be sold off and the money can be utilized somewhere else. It is also not mentioned. Then what? Then this terminal value will help you to find out the value of that project beyond that forecasted cash flows periods that are served to you. It assumes this net terminal value concept assumes that a business will keep on growing at a set growth rate although the growth rate will not change, that every year after that life of the project, it will not keep on changing because you have utilized that machine, you have utilized that project so much that you cannot say that you will keep on earning more and more and more throughout the ages, throughout infinity. You cannot say that, but you can say that after the 10th year, maybe the project every year it will grow at 0.2% or 0.3%. You are going too much pessimistic and you're saying that only this much growth will occur, but it will occur. So you're setting a growth rate forever in till infinity. You're saying that although it is minute growth rate, still you're saying that this growth rate is going to be achieved by us, where if we utilize this project for 10 years, and after 10 years till infinity, this much growth rate can be achieved. So that is the concept of net terminal value. Are you understanding? Till the 10th year, 12th year, 6th year, 5th year, whatever, you can easily calculate net present value. But after that, what? You don't know what is going to be the cash inflow. Nothing is shown to you. In those cases, you have to use the concept of net terminal value, where you will say that this much growth rate will occur, and utilizing this much growth rate, I can predict that this much amount of money can be earned from the project. Understood? Net terminal value often comprises a large percentage of the total assessed value. Sometimes it will be comprising of a large percentage depending on the type of the project. Sometimes the percentage will be quite low. Okay, now let us understand the terminal value properly. Forecasting gets murkier as the time horizon grows longer. Murkier means it gets tougher. Okay, forecasting will get tougher as the time will pass, and it grows longer and longer. This holds true in finance as well. This concept is absolutely true in finance, because up till a certain point of time you can predict, but after that the prediction is quite difficult, quite tough, especially when it comes to estimating a company's cash flows well into the future. Especially when you're estimating the projects or company's cash flows that you're going to achieve in the future period of time, then the estimation, the forecasting, prediction is quite difficult. At the same time, businesses need to be valued also, isn't it? You cannot say that after 10 years, when the project life will end, the company will also end. You cannot also say that, because you have to show something to the stakeholders, to the shareholders, so that they also invest money in your company and you can grow more. So at the same time, valuation of the business is also very important. To solve this, analysts use financial models such as the discounted cash flow along with certain assumptions to derive the total value of a project or business. So the financial analysts, what do? They use certain models, financial models, where obviously the discounted cash flow technique will be followed. What is the meaning of discounted cash flow technique? It means you are usually using the present value factor and converting the future values into their present value. That is discounted cash flow technique. And using these financial models, obviously the problem can be solved along with certain other assumptions also. Not only, you cannot say that by utilizing only the factor table you can predict the value of the business forever and ever. There are certain other assumptions also which you will have to follow. which you will have to follow. Discounted cash flow, DCF, is a popular method used in feasibility studies, corporate acquisitions, and stock market valuation. So where others you can use this discounted cash flow technique other than feasibility study? What we are doing now in the NPV calculation, IRR, PI period, payback period, whatever we are calculating, those are called feasibility analysis. Okay. So along with using the discounted cash flow technique in this feasibility studies, they can also be used in other fields such as corporate acquisitions. You want to you want to acquire certain firm, you want to acquire certain project of different firm. In those type of analysis also DCF can be used, and also stock market valuation. the price of a stock is this much at this point of time, and you're predicting the price of it to will rise to this much amount after 5 years. Then you can find out the present value of that stock at year zero, and then compare it and then invest. So in the all those kind of fields, this DCF can be used. Okay, this method is based on the theory that an asset's value is equal to all future cash flows derived from that asset. What does it say? What does it say? It says that this method is based on the theory that an asset's value is equal to all future cash flows derived from that asset. It says that this method uses the concept that the valuation of an asset can be easily measured by measuring the future cash flows present values. These cash flows must be discounted to the present value at a discount rate representing the cost of capital such as the interest rate. So obviously the future cash flows will be transformed into their present value by using the discount rate or the present and also the present value factor. So this kind of concept is utilized in DCF. This we know, we have calculated, isn't it? Now the DCF has two major components. One is the forecast period and the terminal value. Okay, the forecast period is usually about 5 years. It can be 10 years also depending on the type of the project. We have been doing sums on this. Let the forecast period be 5 years. Anything longer than that and the accuracy of the projections suffer. That means beyond this forecasted period, anything if it is longer than that, and then the measurement of the projects accurately will not be so much easy. This is where calculating terminal value becomes important. This is because of this fact that this projection of the future cash flows beyond that life of the project is quite difficult, and that is why this terminal value concept has become popular, and this is where it is important to calculate the terminal value, not the present value now, no longer. There are commonly two methods used to calculate the terminal value. Now we will learn what and how to calculate the terminal value. One is perpetual growth. This is also called Gordon growth model. We will call it GGM. Okay. One technique is to follow the Gordon growth model. This is a growth model developed by the famous financial analyst Gordon. Okay. That chapter has been removed from his syllabus. There was a chapter called Dividend Decisions in which Gordon's growth model was there. Okay, so we will not study that model now, but we will take a concept from this model and utilize it in terminal value concept. So what happens over here is that Gordon developed a growth factor determined by G, measured by G. This growth rate can be calculated by the use of Gordon model. Okay, so we will first learn how to calculate terminal value by using this Gordon growth model, and another technique is exit multiple. Number 2 technique is exit multiple. Okay, so two techniques. One is perpetual growth, also known as Gordon growth model, GGM, and another is exit multiple. The former, that means GGM, assumes that a business will continue to generate cash flows at a constant rate forever, while the latter assumes that a business will be sold for a multiple of some market metric. That means what? In the first model, that is GGM, it will be assumed that the business will keep on growing at a certain or at a constant or at a fixed growth rate. Okay, forever. It will last till infinity. You don't know when the business will stop performing. So till infinity, the business will be assumed to be growing at a certain rate of interest. Certain growth rate. So that is GGM, Gordon growth model. Then what is exit model? In exit model, it is assumed that the business will be sold off. Okay, that the business will be sold off to another big company, another powerful company, depending on certain market metric. Okay, so You can see a lot of collaborations going on, acquisitions going on, isn't it? Facebook is buying WhatsApp, then your Idea and Vodafone VI, they have become. Okay, so all those acquisitions and mergers are going on. So you are assuming in the second method that the company will be sold off after that estimated life. So two assumptions. Let us see what to do with the use of perpetuity method. This is DGM method, okay? Perpetuity method means DGM. Here, what we will do? Discounting is necessary because the time value of money creates a discrepancy between the current and future values of a given sum of money. Discounting is obviously necessary, we know it, because if you have future cash flows and you have present cash flows, it is very difficult to compare those. So you have to first discount the future cash flow and then calculate the present value of it, and then you can compare. In business valuation, free cash flow or dividends can be forecast for a discrete period of time, but the performance of ongoing concerns become more challenging to estimate as the projections stretch further into the future. Moreover, it is difficult to determine the precise time when a company may cease operations. So it is talking about assumptions and estimations of the future predictions, which is very difficult. In order to overcome these limitations, investors can assume that cash flows will grow at a stable rate forever, starting at some point in the future. This is what I have already told you in GGM. The investor will assume that cash flows will grow, but at a stable rate forever. You don't know when it will end. This represents the terminal value. Now the terminal value is calculated by dividing the last cash flow forecast by the difference between the discount rate and the terminal growth rate. You should write down this formula. Okay. You should write down this formula. See how is it calculated? The terminal value calculation estimates the value of the company after the forecast period. Terminal value is calculated by dividing the last cash flow forecast by the difference between the discount rate and terminal growth rate. So in the numerator, you will write FCF, that is free cash flow for the last forecast period. Let me say till year 5, you had calculated the cash flow. So till in the 5th year, so in the 5th year, whatever is the cash flow you have calculated, that should be taken. FCF is that value. Understood? Last year's value. Be it 10th year, be it 5th year, 6th year, whatever is given. So this is that value. With this, you will multiply 1 plus G. What is G? This is coming from the Gordon growth model. This is called terminal growth rate. Okay. FCF is called free cash flow for the last forecast period. That means the last period's value you will take. With this, you will multiply 1 plus G. What is this G? This is G will be arrived at by using Gordon growth model, and this is called terminal growth rate. Okay. Then you will divide this entire thing by D minus G. What is D? D is the discount rate, and the difference of this D with the G, that is terminal growth rate, that has to be divided. The difference between the discount rate and the terminal growth rate has to be in the denominator. Understood? Write this formula in your copy. Short question will come from this part. So short notes, say 4 marks, 6 marks questions are coming. Then you should write the formula as well of both the methods. I'll share this link also. So formula is FCF into 1 plus G divided by D minus G, where you will write all these factors. Understood? This is the formula. Then let us see what is exit multiple method. Okay, before that, let us discuss this paragraph also. The terminal growth rate is the constant rate. Now this question of G must be haunting you because you don't know Gordon growth model. So let me tell you what it is actually. The terminal growth rate is the constant rate that the company is expected to go at forever. This growth rate starts at the end of the last forecasted cash flow period in a discounted cash flow model and goes into perpetuity. So this growth rate, when will it start? It will just start at the end of the forecasted cash flows. In the sums we are doing now till 10th year, till 6th year, the cash flows are given. So after that cash flow, this growth rate will start. And in a discounted cash flow model, and it will go till perpetuity. Perpetuity means infinity. You don't know when will it end. Okay. A terminal growth rate is usually in line with the long-term rate of inflation, but not higher than the historical GDP growth rate. Okay. So what will you do is, how will you calculate this growth rate? Or by using the Gordon growth model. If you would have done that model, then there's a direct formula for calculating this G. But since you will not be doing that, so you should understand this line, that this G should be in line with the long-term rate of inflation. Now you should see history. You should go back to history of the economy of your country and see that what had been the inflation rate. And then you should predict the long-term rate of inflation. That inflation means what? The rate at which the prices of the product keeps on rising, isn't it? So that inflation rate you can easily get in government portals. Okay. So that long-term rate of inflation you should predict first, but you should not predict something which will be higher than any GDP from the past history. Okay, you say the highest GDP growth rate of India had been 8%. Say for example, if you are going to the history, you are seeing that the highest GDP growth rate has been only 8%. So this G, that is growth rate, you cannot estimate it to be more than 8%. Understood? It has to be lower or equals to 8%. That also should be calculated depending on the long-term rate of inflation. Okay, that is how the G is calculated. And what is the number 2 method is exit multiple method. What it says, if investors assume a finite window of operations, there is no need to use the perpetuity growth model. Now, if you see that finite window of operations means you are seeing that the business will not last till infinity, but at a certain point of time it will be sold off. If you think like that, that is called a finite window of operations. Then there will be no necessity for calculating the perpetuity method. Okay. Instead, the terminal value must reflect the net realizable value of a company's assets at that time. That means what is the realizable value of that company after the life of the project, life of the company, whatever. What is the realizable value of that assets of the company? That has to be reflected. This often implies that the equity will be acquired by a larger firm, and the value of acquisitions are often calculated with exit multiples. Okay, when Vodafone was merged with Idea, or when Facebook purchased WhatsApp, then what happened? The Facebook can be considered as a larger firm, so the equity share of the WhatsApp was acquired by Facebook. Okay, and the value of that acquisition will be termed as the exit multiplies values. Exit multiplies estimate a fair price by multiplying financial statistics such as sales, profits, or earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So this exit multiplies will apply a lot of concepts which will be related to statistics, such as the sales, what is the profit of that company at that point of time, what is EBITDA, that means is a gross profit, what is the set of profits, set of all these statistics, that everything will be considered, and then the firm's assets valuation will be done. That will be multiplied by multiplying all these statistics by a factor that is common for similar firms that were recently acquired. So some common firms will also be there which has been acquired like it. So when Vodafone acquired Hutch, then at that time you could have thought that okay, this two company merged, and then Vodafone acquired that company, and then again it is acquiring another company at this point. Then this can be compared to that acquisition. That also can be done. So that factor has to be calculated. There are strong financial models that even I am not so much clear of those models. I need a lot of time. I have to grow up more. Then I'll be able to understand those critical models. So all those models will be utilized, and then the exit multiplies factor will be calculated. The terminal value formula using the exit multiple method is the most recent metric, that is sales or EBITDA, etc., multiplied by the decided upon multiple, usually an average of recent exit multiples for other transactions. So you'll have to multiply that similar type of acquisition factors, and then you have to multiply this factor with the most recent metric, that is, let it be sale, let it be your profits, or let it be the EBITDA. It has to be multiplied with that. Then investment banks often employ this valuation method, but some detractors hesitate to use intrinsic and relative valuation techniques simultaneously. This is in most of the cases this will be accepted largely. In most other cases this will be not accepted. Because why? Because they will hesitate, the companies will hesitate to use both intrinsic as well as relative valuation. Intrinsic valuation means it is applying facts, it is applying sales, it is applying profits figures, it is applying the EBITDA figures. This is a fact, this is intrinsic. But relative valuation techniques means you have to relate this kind of acquisition with some other acquisition which has happened in the past. So that is a very difficult technique. And I would also personally hesitate to use this technique, because this is very critical, this is very complex. You have to compare this kind of acquisition. If you're comparing two acquisitions, you have to go through a lot between both these acquisitions. So that is sometimes becomes quite difficult. So in investment bankers who are quite efficient in doing this, they would happily accept this method, whereas the companies who are not dealing with financial data more, they are hiring CAs and all that to perform their financial operations, they will hesitate to use this model. Okay, so the best model, in other words, is this one, perpetuity model. So while if this concept comes as a short note in your exam, you will first write the definition from the first part. That means here from this part you will write the definition, and then we will write the techniques for calculating the terminal value. Okay, so this much for today. I'm taking attendance. If you have any doubt, you can still ask till the time I take the attendance. Otherwise, you can leave a message. I'll reply when I'll get time. Okay. Too many connections. Okay, just give me a second. Yes, you will unmute and respond now, okay? Tonight I will share this link in Moodle. Order has come that every communication will be made in Moodle. So I will use that that unofficial group, share the images during classes only, okay? Rest of all communication will be made through Moodle. Only the sharing of images and then showing it in the screen, that will be done during the classes using that WhatsApp group. Otherwise, all the communications, all the notes, all the assignments will be given through Moodle. Okay. And this class recordings will also be uploaded out there. If I'm unable to upload, because these are coming as 80 MB also, I think I am not allowed to upload 80 MB files in Moodle. So what I will do is I'll upload it in the YouTube, and then we'll share the link in Moodle so that you can access to it. Those who are missing the classes, they will also access to the recordings. Okay, now respond. Abhijit. Abhijit, you are present. Abhishna, Anurag, Aryan.
Yes, ma'am.
Ashish.
Yes, ma'am.
Ashmita.
Yes, ma'am.
Vibechna.
Yes, ma'am.
Debrupa. Harshita. Ishika Chaudhary. Ishika Agarwal.
Present, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Kajal.
Present, ma'am.
Tasak.
Present, ma'am.
Prison, Mahima,
Present, ma'am.
Mamta,
Yes, ma'am.
Mohit, Muskan Prasad, Muskan
Yes, ma'am.
Gupta, Namrata,
Yes, ma'am.
Present, ma'am.
Nitesh, Paudodeep, Pawan, Rashil, Pratiksha Chetri, Pratiksha Giri, Priyanka,
Present, ma'am.
Present, ma'am.
Pooja, Rahul, Rajat, Ramkrishna, Rohit Bansal, Rohit Pandey,
Yes,
Present,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Sagar,
Yes, ma'am.
Salina,
Present, ma'am.
Aditi,
Present, ma'am.
Shruti, Siddhant, Saurav, Sobhit,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sandhya,
Ma'am.
Suraj, Swayam,
Present, ma'am.
Tanya,
Present, ma'am.
Vinit. Okay, then okay, done for today. See you again tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow in finance I'll start a new topic, new chapter, but in QTM I'll continue with the same discussion and finish up tomorrow. Okay, bye bye then. See you tomorrow again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye. Okay.